work out for him as Bolton puts in the final goal of this first match. That is insane. An insane comeback by Astro Gaming.
And another open net. Who can get there? What a pass and what a play!
Oh my! What a pass by Garbage to Bolton. Bolton with another goal. He is really showing up tonight. And oh jeez, it looks like his
seconds remain. Textbook save there by So Garbage. Air dribble. Looking for the shot. Off the double tap and he gets it!
Oh my. I mean, Garbage and Bolton really showed up tonight. I mean, that is an insane little double tap there from Garbage. You love to see it.
Right on goal path, Squid, are heart stoppers.
Oh, they are heart stoppers. And a second goal there for the Bleacher Boys. K1 Killer coming out. We love to see it. A little spinny there. Pass by Heartless.
Keep on holding
Off the double tap and he gets it!
Say what you want, anything you need. Walk to the edge of the world for you, cause I'm all about you now. About you now. Now what you see, you've been calling me. Ain't nothing that you could do to make me walk away. I gave you love, tell you that you're a star, until you see that you are. No matter how hard it's raining, I'll make it come. I hope you feel me even when I'm gone. Through the cold and wet weather.
One-man band because of all, and now he's been short.
Tap opportunity, gets it!
Off a fantastic lower pass. An easy shot.
Like when came in hungry tonight. I don't know what it is,
Keep on holding you up. I'll do anything to break you for a day and night.
Shot!
I'll be there to
Big touch. That was one of the most calculated.
keep on holding you up.
As we're creeping up on that 3-minute mark, Crouton double tap, what a shot! All right, we are back. Despite the internet gods working against us, we're making it work anyways, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season 6. Welcome to the draft. Hopefully everything should be running fine now. In the booth beside me, of course, is the commissioner himself. And Bucket, I'll toss it back over to you. Go ahead and introduce us to Season 6, my friend.
Absolutely. Apologies for the technical difficulties there, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald did not pay the internet bill this month, so let us get going. We are going to go over the quick ground rules of the draft here. For those of you who are not familiar, we have officially 12 franchises that are in this league, and all but one of them, unless there is a spicy trade that happens tonight, will be picking in this draft. Each team will get 7 minutes on the clock to get their picks in. They will be announced on stream as you see them come across. I want to see everybody's reactions in the chats. I want to see everybody's thoughts on the picks and etc. Once we get down to the nitty-gritty at the end of the draft, the teams should have players that they can play around with, because now there are 4 men on each roster, up to 4 men, I should say, and they can change these lineups as they see fit, so long as they fit within the 600 QRLS player rating cap. Other than that, K1, at 8:45, we are going to put the Cyclones on the clock. Give us a little bit of a rundown, take 2, on some of the names that we see in this draft pool.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you, everybody. Big shout out to Panda really quick, who's already hitting it hard with the subs. Really appreciate that. Right off the bat, man. Wow. But yeah, let's talk about some of the players to look for. And I was doing my work. I was doing my homework, as I'm paid so well to do. But want to take a look at some of the picks to watch, the K1 picks to watch for the draft. And so we're going to just run down the free agent list. Right off the bat, you have, hitting you in the face, Vivo and Q listed up there with a QRLS player rating of 374 each. Now, those both players have the highest ratings of all players. Now, Bucket, that's not just players in the draft, Bucket. No, that is players in general. That's higher than Billy Bob. That's higher than Slurpee Snail. That's higher than Alex. These guys. So huge ones to watch out for. Outside of that, we also have Cole Tap, the man himself, who's been consistently around the league. Fantastic. I mean, through and through. GC, he's high up there. Top 10 pick. I think he's getting up. Top 10 player ratings. I think he's getting picked up somewhere. Just the question is where. Reese, who is the winner of the champion heat on Mount K1, showed out big time and has a pretty middle-of-the-road, little higher, 252 player rating, but fits really well, I'm sure, into almost any team. Mr. Rebel, who's been around for over a season now, I played with him a number of times. Very consistent, intelligent player, and will flex on you with some fancy twisties here and there. And running down, we have JJ, as true of a GC as they come, with a lot of upside and just a great kid all the way around. It would make a perfect fit into a lot of these teams. Lemur Arms, Squiddy D, veterans, each of them with a lot of talent and a lot of knowledge of the players in the league, and each have playoff experience. Lil Mac, Zethel, CJ, Robbie, Rapple, Heartless, these are all other guys to watch out for. These guys have a lot of abilities. They're about middle of the ground when it comes to player rating, which makes them perfect to fit into just about any roster. And you know, a lot with that lower rating, not lower rating, but middle of the road to lower ratings, as opposed to some of these other guys, they have a lot of punch and a lot of skill behind them. So I think that these are going to be your sleepers. These are going to be the hottest picks. We've seen it in the past. The highest rating don't necessarily go first. It's these guys here around that middle of the ground, middle of the road, with a lot of talent and ability to work in a team. And that's going to be the big one for these captains. It's been in the last few seasons. It's going to be, I assure you, going to be a big one in Season 6, is how well are they able to work within a team.
No doubt about it. Great rundown there, K1. And I want to point out that this is the second time in league history that the same team has had back-to-back number one overall picks. The Cyclones had the number one overall pick last season, picking up Kachow, who would eventually go on to win Rookie of the Season in Season 5. And the last time we saw this was Season 1 and Season 2, when the team now known as the Bleacher Boys went back-to-back with the number one pick as well. And, K1, they're at the number 2 slot this season.
Yeah, the Bleacher Boys, I mean, these guys. I was a Bleacher Boy last season. It definitely was not the season we had hoped for, but it's been one of my favorite teams for the last few seasons now. Fantastic. Once captained by the Alec Big, who I want to give a shout-out in assistance with the intro video you saw there. A lot of that work was done by him. Huge fan of the league, and he's been around. He is now sub-only and is gifted captainship at the Bleacher Boys over to the Golden Pickle, who'll be taking over here, looking at that number 2 spot. And, Bucket, I was able to sit down with Pickle and get a little interview here with him to kind of get his idea. This is a rookie captain, but, man, you should listen to him talk. He's a rookie captain, and a lot of times you talk to other captains, like, well, I want to have a good season. Yeah, would like to, get some records. Maybe make the... No. Pickle is like, I want to win the championship. He was there with the Speed Demons last season after a heartbreaking loss to the Hammerheads. He wants to be back there again. He has the number 2 spot. He already has Eagle, who was once a championship MVP, and Scraps on his team, who he played with last season as well and helped him get to the playoffs. So he has a really, really solid team around him, and the number 2 pick. The Bleacher Boys, Golden Pickle, ones to watch out for.
No doubt about it. And ladies and gentlemen, we are creeping up here, and we are officially going to put the Cyclones on the clock. 7 minutes they have to get their picks in. And while we wait here, K1, let's talk about the Cyclones. Obviously, they had a season to remember for all the wrong reasons last season, tying the worst record in QRLS history.
Yeah, the Cyclones, they tried to put together a good team, and they did. They had at the time the former Rookie of the Season, Zovri, paired up with Kachow, who became who was I believe Rookie of the Season last season. So 2 fantastic younger players on the team. and captained by Night Leaper. And despite all the talent that they had on the team, they just couldn't seem to find a way to make it mesh. And that really goes more so to speak on just how competitive that the Cyclones found that how competitive, the league has become around the Cyclones. They weren't able to quite get it to work last season, and especially when you get that number 1 first overall draft. But they did a good job. They moved Ka-Chow around. They're able to maintain that first overall draft pick. This is what I would consider to be a rebuilding season for them. They've picked up Pinky now as the captain, who's picked up a longtime friend and teammate, Mimsy. ZDL, Pinky, and Mimsy now sitting very pretty at the top there with cap space of 282, which gives them a lot of options pretty much all the way up until the top 5 player ratings. So Rees and all the way down on the player ratings free agency they have that they can slot into that last spot. And that's a scary that's a scary prospect to think about, especially even when you consider that they have a 4th man they can even fit in there. So the Cyclones, a rebuilding season to be sure, but I think they might mess around and find themselves in the playoffs.
No doubt about it. And ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. K1, we have waited a long time to get to this point, and obviously a little bit of a roadblock there trying to stop us at the beginning of this stream. But nonetheless, with the number 1 overall pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Cyclones select Crocs with Socks.
Crocs with Socks.
Coming in at a 183 player rating. What a solid number for the Cyclones there, K1.
Yeah, I like this pick a lot. A good middle ground, and I think what's great about Crocs with Socks, I haven't got to play with him too much, but I know a lot of people have talked about him. He's been up there in conversation with one of the... I'm not terribly surprised to see him go early. I am surprised to see him go first, though. And that just goes to show Captain Pinky sees a lot in players, and I'm excited to see how Crocs with Socks fits in with him and Mimsy. As I mentioned before, Pinky and Mimsy played together for a long time, and Crocs with Socks will be a rookie to the league, but also joining into this duo as their 3rd guy. So he's going to have a lot to work into, big shoes to fill, as Ka-Chow was last season's number 1 first overall pick. Now it's Crocs with Socks. All eyes on you, buddy. No stress! But no, great pick, great guy. From what I've heard really good things. This is a great pick.
And just as quick as we got the first one done, the second pick is in here, K1. Your former team, the Bleacher Boys, now under a new era, we should say, with new captainship. With the number 2 pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Bleacher Boys select JJ Jr.
Ooh.
Little bit of an unexpected pick here, K1, based on the rumors.
There was a lot of rumors, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pickle put these out there on purpose to dissuade a lot of people from expecting to know what he was doing. And you see that a lot of the times. These captains get tricky out here. They really do. But despite it, JJ is not a surprising pick. And I mean that goes to speak to how solid this guy is. He's always in the chats, a fantastic team player. Honestly, just a great kid all the way around. And I mean, as true a GC as they come, I think this is a great answer for Alex. Bleacher Boys will be playing up against Clarity United against the captain, Alex, and JJ is a good answer for Alex. I don't think he's at the same level of Alex, but he's at least he at least keeps him in place. And that's a great pick for Pickle, and I think he fits really well in with the rest of their team now. I mean, Golden Pickle, the Bleacher Boys, they have an overall incredibly strong team of 4 now. They have Pickle, they have Eagle, they have Scraps, and now JJ.
A very, very interesting lineup indeed. There's a lot you can do to trade in and out of that lineup too. So, interested to see how this plays out. And a great pick there by the Bleacher Boys. K1, you were a former Bleacher Boy. However, you would say your alma mater is the Kings here at the 3 spot?
The Kings, formerly known as the K1 Kings, absolutely. Once a king, always a king. I brought the Kings their first crown, and I wear it proudly.
Yeah, the Kings, former league champions, one of only 2 franchises to win 2 QRLS championships, the other being the Hammerheads, and obviously the Kings are one of the pillars in this league. They find themselves at the 3 spot. Blubbernut comprised a good roster there towards the end of the season. K1, however, was it a little too late?
No, I don't think so, because I think this is what he had planned all along. He has a really solid roster right now between him, Blubbernut, who's arguably one of the greatest of all time, has 2 championships under his belt, and I believe he's planning on marching there again this season. He's done this before in the past where he stays under the radar toward the end of the season, gets himself a nice high pick, and will then make some moves, and now he's going in with Wreck My Rooster, who we didn't get to see enough of him last season. Has a 297 player rating. He's high up there, and he plays often. I think is another really good answer for like the Alexes of the world, Billy Bob Slurpison. I mean, true GC level guy, and a great guy too. Works very well within a team. And also Zovri, who is bounced around the league, was a king once, is now a king again. And now Kings have a 3rd pick as well. Another star-studded squad and a high pick. I could see them going pretty far, and I could see them rivaling the Bleacher Boys this season.
Yeah, the Kings, a lot of history there. And like you mentioned, I think you hit the nail on the head. They are trying to keep making history at the captainship of Blubbernut. Their clock is ticking down. Still no word yet on a pick. However, they got plenty of time here, K1. That's what this is about. Because honestly, once you get to that 3 to 7 range, these are very important picks.
Yeah, so the first 2 typically go like clockwork, pun intended. But this is where captains start getting tricky, especially when you have this 4th player slot you can work with. The Kings currently are actually 15 points over the cap space with the 3 men that they have on the roster, which means whoever they draft will have to be less than somebody else so that they can slot a team. Keep in mind that the team that takes the field has to have 600, has to at max have a 600 QRLS player rating amongst the 3 of them. Currently, the Kings sit with the 3 that they have at 615, which means that this could be a pick for some trade bait. The pick itself could get traded. Somebody on the roster could get traded. But I think Blubbernut has trade on the mind. If I'm putting myself in the mind of Blubbernut, which is a dangerous place to be for anybody that knows Blubbernut. But I think he's got trade on the mind.
And that could be what's taking up some of this clock time, right? Getting those details ironed out. I mean, you and I both know from separate experiences the draft day trading, politics.
Yeah, and you see a lot of trades right here. The 3, 4, 5 slots. You see a lot of trades start moving around here in swaps. I wouldn't be surprised right now. Captains are all talking to each other. They're rushing around. They're on their phones. They're typing away. They probably finished up dinner not too long ago, and they're right now head down, trying to make trades, trying to put together the best teams they can. And I know Blubbernut, with just shy of 3 minutes now, he's messaging as many people as he can, trying to get in touch with everybody, just wheeling and dealing. And that I was a captain for some time. I was in the hustle of it, and I can tell you firsthand, it's stressful. But the Kings have done it time and time again where they come out on top in the draft, and I know the Kings are trying to do that again. It is what Blubbernut does. He's a fantastic negotiator, great player, but I think where his gold really lies right here as a captain in these moments.
And the pick is in just like that, K1. You couldn't have timed that any better.
Oh, well, what can I say?
The pick is in, ladies and gentlemen, and with the 3rd pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Kings select Raised Lynx.
Ooh, Raised Lynx.
Very interesting pick here, K1. Obviously, this is him trying to find a diamond in the rough here that also fits within that 600 cap that you spoke about.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much of Raised Links. I genuinely don't know too much about the pick. But I know if I know Blubbernut, he's done his research into this, and now Raised Links sits at a 105 player rating, which would fit into his roster of 3 that he has. So he could sub himself out, he could sub Rooster out, he could sub Zovri out for Raised Links. So he pretty much has a sub that he could use, or he has that third player. But he absolutely cannot field all 3, Blubbernut, Wreck My Rooster, and Zovri. So he's going to have to fit somebody else in there, and that's where Raised Link's going to come in. His player rating allows him to perfectly fit and allow Blubbernut a lot of customization with his team. And that 4th man role, I think Blubbernut's going to take a lot of advantage of in using Raised Links, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I think that's a very intelligent pick. A bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And all this time, we were thinking he was trying to trade this pick away, but nonetheless, he selects Raised Links at number 3. Next up is the Rangers. Now, they did have 2 picks back-to-back. However, they did trade that number 5 pick that they received in a trade to the Gold Diggers, who now sees to be the 4th different team to touch this pick. I mean, this pick has been a popular demand, K1.
Yeah, it's bouncing around like bouncing around the beach ball in a Jimmy Buffett concert. You gotta love to see that. This pick's been touched more than me at Boy Scout camp. But anyways, Throttle Dog, I'm excited to see what he does with this one. He's got Avoidable Clown in his team and just shy of 200 points of cap space left to work with. So that gives him a lot of opportunities on people to fit into that third man spot. And you got to think he's done a lot of trading. He definitely wants to make a pick. So the guy that he's picking here is going to be his guy. And he's in a very competitive division. And it's going to be very important to find that cornerstone. Throttle Dog is solid. Good friends with the likes of Slurpy Snail and Billy Bob. And I think he's shadowed a lot by these guys. But Throttle Dog is a solid player himself. Actually beat Slurpy Snail, I believe it was, in a 1v1 on the Mount K1. You know, Throttle Dog's not one to sleep on, and I know he's going to make a pick, and I think he's going to turn some heads this season.
And he absolutely is making a pick because the pick is in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rangers, like you said, very tough division. However, they are looking for blood, and Throttle Dog overall has been one of the more improved players since joining the league, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. With the number 4 pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Rangers select Quispy.
Quispy. I love that name. That's so much fun to say. Quispy. And I think it's a very Quispy pick indeed. Like I said, he had a lot of room, about 200 points he could work with. Quispy ranking in at 180. Pretty much fill out that $600 salary cap that they have, or player point cap that they have. And I have not got to see Quispy play, and that's going to be, I think, a big thing with a lot of the players on this league, or in this draft pool, is we haven't got to see a lot from these guys, so there's a lot of question marks, and Quispy could be a difference maker here for the Rangers in that in their division.
No doubt about it. And like we mentioned, the number 5 pick is now belonging to the Gold Diggers. I just want to point out, this started as a Bleachers Boys pick, ends up with Clarity United, ends up with the Rangers, who then just recently trades it to the Gold Diggers. You know, not only has this gone from team to team to team, but this has seen all 3 divisions in the league.
Yeah, very popular, that 5 spot. Pretty much is center of the draft. And you mentioned these are some really big picks. You know, some of the bigger guys are out of the way, but some big guys have also, you know, fallen down to this pick. Like I had mentioned, like Mr. Rebel, Cold Tap, Reese. These guys are still out there, open to be picked. And when you're looking at the Gold Diggers, Von Rabbit he's alone on his squad. He has a lot of space to work with, 447 points to be exact. He has to get 2 picks. He has to fill up his team. He has a lot of room. Von Rabbit had a very solid rookie season last season. Didn't quite have the season I think he wanted to, but now is the captain of his own squad and able to build his own fortune here. I know he's looking at some guy to help really be a difference maker. Right now, you're picking your star player. He has a lot of salary cap to work with. I believe we're gonna see a big name here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in for the Gold Diggers for the number 5 pick. And K1, I do want to point out that the Gold Diggers do have a second-round pick via retirement compensation. Them and the Spectres are the only ones that have second-round pick in this draft. So let's keep that in mind here. With the 5th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Gold Diggers select Robbie Riddlehoove.
Ooh. I'd mentioned it before, Robbie Riddlehoove. I told you he was going to be a sleeper. You heard me say it. I said right at the bat, Robbie Riddlehoove is going to be a sleeper pick. He's going to surprise us somewhere. And here he is, a big pick, a guy who's been everywhere in the league. He's just consistently been around, a fantastic player, and now finds himself as a Gold Digger here side by side with Von Rabbit, and because of his player rating a little lower than than you would expect with his skill level at 129, that's a big pick from a very talented player, and has a lot of room left. Just, I believe, about 300 points still left to work with from a cap, and that's a lot of talent up above that he could still pick from. Big pick from Von Rabbit, and I think he's banking heavily on that second round, the fact that he's one of only 2 teams to get a second-round pick.
Yeah, I think this is a calculated play here, making his big move for that second round. Interested to see what Von Rabbit does in the future picks. But now, Astro Gaming is on the clock. They find themselves in the 6th slot. You can't talk about Astro without talking about the drama that happened at the end of last season that has since been worked through. Everybody's on the same page now. However, one of the moments in history that will be talked about in our 30 for 30s whenever we make one of those.
Yeah, Yeah, Astro Gaming, a very unfortunate end to their season. A no-show ended up disqualifying them essentially from the playoffs. They needed those games to make it, and obviously all 3 games were forfeit, and thus they were not able to make the playoffs. As a result, however, Astro Gaming, outside of that, had a very solid season all the way through. Started off strong. The favorite to win was the Bleacher Boys, and Astro Gaming came out and took the first series off the Bleacher Boys right off the bat, and I was on that team. We were surprised with how quickly they moved. They're tough to keep up with, and they have the same 3 that still currently Bolton, Crouton, and Sea Strife. Crouton, who took the league by storm with a lot of clips. I mean, we got to see one of them in the B-roll. Absolute stud of a player. Bolton picked up a lot too. I think he surprised a lot of players, and so did Sea Strife. These guys, you can't really expect. You have to expect the unexpected with these guys. They're such a solid squad all the way around. So this, honestly, the squad that they have now is a potential playoff team. So this is really the icing on the cake here for them to have that 4th man, have a little flexibility. Should help with some of the scheduling issues as well. And I think Moss Moon said it the best right here in the chat. Astro is so underrated, and I very much agree with that. I think this is going to be a very solid team. They're back for vengeance. I can guarantee it.
And ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. K1, you're getting good at this time.
Well, I'm a professional for a reason. One of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, honestly, you might be the best to ever do it. Who knows?
Relax, you'll make me look.
With the 6th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, Astro Gaming selects Kells.
Ooh. Yeah, Kells is one I know a lot of people are looking at. A very talented player. I haven't got to play with him directly, but he's up there, I believe, mid to high champ, if not GC. Kells, solid player. And yeah, you can see there's a lot of reactions there. A lot of captains were wanting Kells. I'm kind of surprised to see him go this late. This is a great pickup for Astro. The big thing being Kells has 210 points, which means Astro cannot fit him in. Astro will have to work around that higher player rating in order to fit a team of 4 around him. But if there's a player you want to work around, Kells is one of them. Great pickup, and I think he's going to be up there with a potential rookie of the season. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, honestly, great pick there by Astro. Got him right when they needed to pick him. Great stuff. And right away, Clarity United is on the clock, and they have their pick here. K1.
Well, you love to see that. How about it?
And with the 7th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, Clarity United selects Cole Tapp.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, again, Cole Tapp, another one I'm surprised went this late.
Great pick. And honestly, I think we all see what the strategy here is with that pick, K1.
If I had to guess, I want him so no one else can have him kind of pick.
With that being said, the Spectres are on the clock. This was a playoff team last season and led by league veteran Massimune. And, talking a little bit more about this Clarity United pick, we did see a couple of subs needed for Alex last season. I think 1 or 2 weeks. Could this possibly just be an insurance policy for Clarity?
Yeah, it's very possible. Alex in the event, as it stands right now, Alex is an incredible player, and I don't mean this to sound negative. But and Panda and Jet, both very talented veterans in the league, absolutely. But you can't deny that Clarity United, they're backed by Alex RL, who has just been. I mean, he might as well he close to the face of the league. Alex is everywhere and he's such a talented player. I mean, really. It's just so enjoyable to watch a guy play. I'm gushing. I'm blushing. Can you hear me blushing? I'm actually blushing right now talking about Alex. That's how much I love this guy. And he is the backbone of Clarity. In the event that Alex cannot make a game, Clarity is going to have that's a huge shoes to fill, kind of the biggest shoes to fill. But Cole Tapp is a huge insurance plan. You're exactly right. It's very interesting to see, though, because Alex and Cole cannot play on the team at the same time. They cannot be on the field at the same time. So it's either Alex or Cole, followed by Panda and Jet on the team. So, a very talented player in Cole, but might not be able to get to see the field as much, or Alex won't be able to see the field as much, which, from a viewer standpoint, and the guy who puts together the clips, does make me sad, because I think those guys each have a lot of highlights to give. So I hate that I probably won't get to see both of them playing at the same time. But, man, yeah, big pickup by Alex RL. And really just goes to show this is his first, I believe, his rookie season as a captain. And, I mean, way to make a statement.
No doubt about it. Spectres are still on the clock here as we watch their time go a little bit into the 2-minute mark. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of it's taking a little longer here, and you can kind of see why. The Spectres have 219 points to work with. There's a lot of players on there that have a 220 skill cap. There's 2 players on the Spectres, myself and my captain, Massimune, and a lot of big guys went. So trying to find that guy to work into trying to find that guy to work into the team is going to be very difficult. Massimune, though, one of the best competitors in the league. I know for a fact he's pulling a lot of strings trying to find something that's going to work best. I know he feels gypped. I talked to him, got to have a little interview. He wants that playoff again. I know he wants that championship. It's why he pulled me onto his team. He knows what I'm able to do, and he's trying to find a third to help us do it. Massimune, he's going to take every bit of this. If I had to guess, he's going to take as much time as he can to make sure that the pick he's making is the best pick possible.
And ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. K1, this is big for you because you're going to see who your new teammate is going to be.
I am excited. It's like Christmas.
With the 8th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Spectres select Cubnuts.
Oh, yeah, and I spoke with Massimune. I didn't want to say anything until the pick was actually in, but I spoke with Massimune, and this is the guy he had his eyes on the most. One of the guys he had his eyes on the most, and Cubnuts, a big pickup here later on. Again, he has, as far as player rating goes, middle of the line. I haven't gotten the pleasure to play with him too terribly much, but I know he's a solid high champ-esque player. And with both Masamune and myself in that champ level, we talk about, teams like Clarity United where you have Alex RL, high GC, paired with, mid-ranked guys versus teams that are more well-rounded. I think this brings the Spectres to a very well-rounded skill level team. There's no cutoff or drop in skill between the three of us. Very excited to play with Cubnuts. Welcome to the team, my friend.
Look at the comparison between the Bleacher Boys and the Spectres roster right now. I think that's going to be extremely interesting, and especially like you said, compared to the Clarity Uniteds of the world and the team that's on the clock right now, the Hammerheads, who have the reigning MVP Billy Bob, and they are the defending QRLS champions. This pick was originally Vibe Clans that they traded in the middle of last season's draft in return for Eagle.
Yeah, and now Eagle finds himself on the Bleacher Boys, and the Vibe Clan, if you'll notice, is not even on the draft board. And what's also interesting to note is the Vibe Clan currently only has 2 people to their roster, Toaster and Strive, that they made with a big 3-way trade that took place in the offseason, where Eagle from the Vibe Clan went to the Bleacher Boys, myself from the Bleacher Boys went to the Spectres, and Strive found himself back on Vibe Clan, 3-way trade between the 3 of them. Vibe then later dropped Squid, so it's interesting to see Vibe not having a draft here. But back to the Hammerheads, yeah, I mean, these guys, the defending champions, have 2 late picks here. And Billy Bob, they have about 100 points, 102 to be exact, of cap space. Billy Bob and Fabrizi played very well last season, and I know they want to be back there. They have 2 of the 3 guys that got them to the championship last season. So this next pickup, around 100 points is what they'll need. They're going to be looking to get back there. But big shoes to fill coming in, though. So we'll very interested to see what Billy Bob does here, especially with these last 2 picks.
No doubt about it. We are about 2 minutes into his pick timer, and I just want to talk about the insane finals that we saw this past season. Went to 7 games, back and forth series. Both teams trading the lead in the series between the Speed Demons and the Hammerheads. Honestly, you couldn't have written it any better.
No, probably for sure the second best championship that the QRLS has ever seen.
I think most of the people who are in on it can agree with that.
Yeah. I think the biggest tragedy that we've seen so far is the fact that we don't have that full playoff match saved. We have all the highlights and everything, but yeah, no, the Season 2 matchup there, to this day, the most exciting game of Rocket League I've ever played. It was a privilege to be a part of it. But the most exciting game I've ever casted, though, was definitely that Hammerheads versus Speed Demons. I was out of breath about halfway through that game, or halfway through that season, and then they kept playing.
Yeah, honestly, great stuff. The Season 2 finals, as unfortunate as it was, we were still cavemen back then. Did not have the stream capabilities and or the file capabilities that we do now. So very fortunate to have all the viewers in the chat tonight and all the captains participating as well. Hammerhead's taking their time with this one, K1. This is a big decision. This is the sophomore season. I'm sorry, this is the 3rd season as captain now for Billy Bob that he's entering into.
Yeah, Billy Bob came in, took the league by storm pretty much right off the bat. Now found himself as a consummate veteran in the league, up there with one of the greatest of all time. Up there with the likes of Alex and Blubbernut. It's Slurpy Snail also. Got to mention Slurpy Snail. He'll get mad at me otherwise. He doesn't bully me. He told me not to say that. But no, yeah, Billy Bob, a fantastic player. Just so much fun to watch, and he's so consistent. I think that's a big one. What's been when he transitioned over to captainship, a big question mark was he going to be able to pull that same skill over as a captain, and he has. He's taken it very, very seriously. Put together some very solid teams and went out and won a championship. Not too many captains could say that, and Billy Bob was able to do that. I believe in his sophomore year as a captain. Yeah, it's a big change up to be able to put those teams together, see that talent, put it together, and then the big one is work with it and grow it, and that's exactly what he did. Especially when looking at Fabrizi, who came in pretty talented, pretty mechanical, but was at the start of it pretty wild. Didn't wasn't rotating necessarily the way he should. Billy Bob, I think, was able to coach him up, and now Fabrizi. I don't know exactly what his rank is currently, but I know he's up there, like top. He's up there, the mid to high champ. I believe he came into the league as a high diamond 3, low champ. So that's a big jump in just one season. I think obviously a lot of that is his work ethic, but commendable Billy Bob and his coaching ability as a captain.
And ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in for the Hammerheads, and this is one of the more interesting spots in the draft. The 9 through 12 slot, we haven't really had to see too many of these. Quite frankly, this is the second time we've ever gone into this territory in league history with the added teams that we had last season. But with that being said, with the next pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Hammerheads select Brick RL.
Brick RL. I've seen this. I haven't got to play with Brick, but I love that pick. I see him in the chats. He's funny. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
And the interesting thing here is he is only 1 point under Fabrizi in player rating. However, those three on the roster would not be able to take the field together. Very interesting pick.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm so excited to see how this fourth man roster spot works with these captains. They're so tricky, all of them. Right now, the chess games that are happening before our eyes on this draft board, we can't even begin to comprehend until we start getting into the season, start seeing how these guys move around. And what's going to be great, too, is after this draft, all these free agents are going to fall directly into the free agents pool. And I guarantee you a lot of captains are going fishing, and they're picking up some more guys. They're filling up that fourth slot. They have strategies in mind. There's going to be tryouts going on, a lot of action about to happen. I mean, it all starts here. I mean, we're really watching Season 6 and how it's going to lay out, happen before our eyes. I mean, Alec Big said it best here. Brick is a huge sleeper here. I'm excited to see him on the Hammerheads. I think that's a good squad for him to be on. I'm excited to see how Billy Bob uses that fourth man slot in order to put together or work around his team.
Yeah, honestly, very interesting pick. I couldn't have said it better myself. Moving on to the yin to the yang, if you will, to the Hammerheads, the three Rocketeers, and Slurpy Snail specifically, as he is the only man on this roster at the moment, similar to Von Rabbit that we saw make his first pick earlier. Give us your take here. Slurpy Snail, a former league MVP, former 2-time Golden Striker. This guy's up there with the big dogs.
Oh, yeah. No, Slurpy Snail, one of the more talented guys in the league for good reason. Very patient, consistent in his shooting and defending. Seems to always be there. When you're playing against him, he's in the way. When you're playing with him, he's exactly where you need him to be. Putting in shots from everywhere. All around, great player and a fantastic captain. Put together a solid team. How they started off probably the hottest team in the league, but slowly cooled down over time. And I know Slurpy Snail... He wants to be able to keep that momentum moving. Dropped his entire team going into this, which a lot of captains didn't do, but Slurpy Snail dropped his entire team going into this and is now drafting from the start. Only has the 1 pick and has just shy about 291 cap space to work with. So he could put together a decent enough team, but it's going to be difficult for him to fit 2 new players into that into those spots. So excited to see how he works around. But no, I mean, you mentioned it best. He's been a rival for Billy Bob since the start. The dynamic duo turned enemies. I mean, it's like a storybook in writing. It's been so much fun watching these guys play and playing against each other and the little rivalry that they have. They say it's friendly, but I don't think it is. I think these guys are vehement enemies, honestly.
Yeah, both players winning a championship together in Season 3. Now seeing themselves across the field from each other a minimum of twice per season, as they are in the same division now as well. Clock ticking down here. The three Rocketeers still awaiting their pick. And, with the draft kind of coming towards the end here. We do have a second round, ladies and gentlemen. There are 2 more picks than what you see on the screen. There is so much love and support that we have for you guys in the chat, and I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody. And I want to give a friendly reminder that it is almost holiday season, and to check out that merch store on the Playmaker Wanted side and on the Teespring side, as we will be coming out shortly with some December promo codes to get you guys some discounts and get yourself some QRLS merch or your loved ones for the holidays. So keep your eye out in the Discord for that promo code. And thank you so much for the support as always. K1, another pick here that we see a lot more gears turning and a lot more methodology in the thinking here.
Yeah, if there's anybody who, calculated to say the least, Slurpy Snail. He's taking his time. I guarantee you, man. He's in there. He's working. He's pulling the strings, grinding the gears, hustling the hustle, trying to find what's going to work best for him. He finds himself in a pretty precarious spot. 291 to work with as far as cap space for his team. Needs 2 people to fill it out and only 1 draft pick to do it. So he's trying to find out who best to pair. He's going to be able to get some people out of free agents, but he needs to figure out, who's getting picked up later after me, who should I be picking up now, who'll still be available at the end. Lots of questions, no real way to answer them, but that just goes to show why it's so difficult to be a captain.
And no question about it. And, that's a great point that he's got 2 slots to fill and only 1 pick to do it with. So very important pick indeed. And as we are getting going here, ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. Great production work. That is all K1, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, with the transition there. And with the 10th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the 3 Rocketeers select OPS Shadow.
Oh, Shadow. OPS Shadow. Another sleeper, I feel like. OPS Shadow's been around, has actually some play time under his belt. I know Alex at one point really wanted him on his team. OPS Shadow now finding himself alongside Slurpy Snail. This is a really big pick. And what's great about that is he has 150 salary cap or player rating, which now gives Slurpy Snail still about 150 more to work with when looking through free agents. Going to be able to put together a nice, well-rounded team using that. Wow, what a great pickup there for Slurpy Snail and the 3 Rocketeers.
Yeah, very interested to see what he does now post-draft. And for those captains who are listening, I will be giving the signal when free agency is quote-unquote officially open post-draft. It will be tonight. However, you have to wait for my go before you can start asking me to start signing some people.
On your marks,
very interesting. Yeah, gun in the air, very, very, very interesting time is the free agent. This is a different kind of free agent scramble, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and with that, the runners-up last season, K1, the Speed Demons.
The Speed Demons. You said it best. The runners-up, they want to be back there. The Speed Demons, though, a bit of a different look now. Sir Bro Dude and Ka-Chow on a team. They lost Golden Pickle, who now finds himself as the captain of the Bleacher Boys. Sir Bro Dude, who I want to take a minute to talk about Sir Bro Dude. Sir Bro Dude, I played with him his rookie year. I remember being in comms with him. I was a Speed Demon at the time. He was very nervous. Not nervous, but just he's tentative, nervous. And I knew the talent that he had, but he held back, and you could see he just wasn't sure in himself. But I got to watch as he slowly developed over time, becoming more and more confident in himself as a player, and then was thrown into the captainship role. And I was curious to see how he was able to take that new stress and bring it into the league, not only as, coming back to play after his rookie year, coming back into his sophomore year, not only his second season, but also now his first season as a captain, and that was last season, came in and played astronomically, spectacular, fantastic, phenomenal. I can't go. He was such a good player last season, so consistent all the way through, brought his team to the playoffs and was dynamite in the playoffs as well, with some very clutch saves and goals all the way through. The tentative Sir Bro dude I saw his freshman year, completely gone, and now almost like a veteran playing out there alongside Kachow and Golden Pickle. Just such a good player all the way around. Now finds himself on the draft board. Has Kachow in 126 points in cap space to work with. Excited to see what Sir Bro Dude does here, and really excited to see what he brings in to this next season. And Panda, to answer your question, yes, Sir Bro Dude did pay me to say this. If anybody wants me to say nice things to them, I'll send you my Venmo. Please hit me up in the Discord. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. Great synopsis there. Sir Bro Dude did end up winning the Most Improved Player of Season 5 award. With the 11th pick of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Speed Demons select Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. I love that name. Great pickup.
Yeah, this is actually a pick that I have made myself a little familiar with. And, I think this is going to be a really good pick for them. I think this is going to fall under the category of sleeper, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue right now with Dragonborn is trying to fit his name into the draft spot. I think we got it. There's a lot of X's in there.
Very good stuff. Interested to see how the Speed Demons will play out next season here, K1.
Yeah, no, Dragonborn sitting in at a 107 player rating. That puts them 107. They still have like about 20 points left to work with if they wanted to try to play around with a fourth player. And I think that I've not had the privilege of playing alongside Dragonborn, but I've seen Kachow and Sir Bro work together. They're pretty familiar with each other. So Dragonborn, he's going to find himself in a similar spot as Crocs with Socks, coming into a already, a championship-esque team. He's filling in the shoes of Golden Pickle, a big spot to find himself in, especially as a rookie. But if there's a team to help coach him into it, it's Sir Bro Dude and his understanding, and Kachow with his know-how. Excited to see how those three play together. I think Dragonborn's up for an exciting rookie season.
No doubt about it. And ladies and gentlemen, now this is the first double dip that we will see tonight. We will see a couple more. However, the Hammerheads have their official pick that they own at the number 12 spot. That is the spot of champions, we like to call it, K1.
The spot of champions. Hey, man, if that's what you got to tell yourself, absolutely.
Very interested to see here. There's one more slot left on the Hammerheads roster. They've got two guys that effectively are competing for a spot, on paper.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because it's a real thing for the first time. You're obviously competing against other teams, but we're going to see some inter squads, I think. Some inter squad competing to see who's getting the starting spot. Spot, there's a guaranteed spot, but there's no longer. You're going to have some guys here who are like neck and neck, and the Hammerheads. Fabrizi, he's a veteran last season. I know he wants to get back, get another championship, but he's going to have to battle for a spot on that list up against some of these other guys that, Billy Bob's picking. Captains are going to have a lot of room to work with, and it's going to be exciting to see how this one goes. But yeah, it'll be exciting too from a it'll be an exciting look too for us as casters to see who's getting the starting job tonight. Who's going to be out there tonight. So yeah, going to be very exciting to see how that all plays out. The strategy that goes into it. I love this new move to have this fourth man on the roster. I think it's going to add so much more strategy to the teams, just way more depth all the way around.
And the pick is in, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the end of the first round. The second round only has 2 picks, so we are getting into the home stretch here. Thank you all again so much for joining us here tonight. With the 12th pick of the Season 6 QRLS Draft, the Hammerheads select Dr. Zack Attack.
Zack Attack. Oh, I love that pick. I've played with Dr. Zack Attack here and there. He's so much fun to be in comms with. And that's a really, really big pickup. Dr. Zack Attack with about 100 points to his player rating. I think is going to fit perfect anywhere that the captain needs them to, Billy Bob. He's going to fit pretty perfect in with everybody else. That is a fun pick up there. He's going to have a lot of fun moving the rosters around, working that in.
I was going to say, now literally, it's just a battle for that last starting spot, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that'll do it for round 1 as we get ready to transition the board over to round 2, and we get the clock back and ticking. Any standouts, though, in that first round that you're seeing?
I honestly think Kells was the most. I think that was the most solid pick, just in terms of that team is going to be scary this season in Astro Gaming.
Yeah, Astro already was scary, now just terrifying, and I know that broke a lot of captains' hearts because I know there's a lot of people looking at Kells. Astro Gaming now has that one pretty solid, and they're back for vengeance. Back for vengeance, absolutely, and they're going to do it. Team to watch out for. Of course, they're going to have to see the Bleacher Boys, and that's going to be a pretty difficult task in of itself, seeing the Bleacher Boys and their roster and their draft picks. So, yeah, no, that is I pretty much agree with you. I think Kells is going to be a difference maker for that roster.
And now we see round 2, the Gold Diggers and the Spectres getting compensation picks for retiring and or sub-only players going out. And now we will see what Von Rabbit does here with this second pick as he is on the clock here. He did go with Robbie Riddlehoove in the first round, a seasoned league vet. However, a lot of people a little skeptical over that pick. The Gold Diggers historically have had questionable draft strategies. However, they do have a finals appearance under their belt.
It's true.
Sprinkled in their history.
You can't deny it. You absolutely cannot deny it. And Von Rabbit, after he picked up Robbie Riddlehoove, has, believe, about 150 points left, a little over 150 points left to work with to fill in that third man slot. And there is still a number of really solid names out there to be picked up. Surprisingly, though, we have still not seen a pick for Lemur Arms or Squiddy. Those great veterans on there. More surprised to see that neither of them have been gobbled up yet. I wonder if that is a strategy that either of these last two captains might be looking at.
Yeah, honestly, this is and the pick is in, K1. Scratch that. With the first pick of the second round of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Gold Diggers select Papa Chunky Puff.
Say that one more time.
Papa Chunky Puff. At a whopping 300 player rating.
And I think this is exactly what he was planning on all along. He knew that this guy was going to go late. He knew that a lot of other teams might not be able to fit him. And so he's like, well, I'm not going to risk Robbie getting gobbled up because that's a solid pick there. I know that none of these other teams can afford this big of a pick, but being that Von Rabbit was in one of the unique situations to be alone on his team, had a lot of room to work with, knew that he had the cap space to fit him in there, so he said, well, I know Papa will still be available by the time he gets to me, so I'm going to grab Robbie now as a solid middle guy, and Papa Chunky Puff. Say that 5 times fast. Now solidly on this squad. And I think this is going to be a scary squad to work around. All three of those guys, very talented. None of them have played together, though. That's going to be the big question mark, I'm sure, is how well they're going to be able to cooperate and work together in order to build out their team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, with the last pick here, it's going to be very interesting to see what your captain does for their fourth slot here. K1.
I know. Like I said, it is Christmas all over again. I feel like I'm going to find myself in another position here where might find myself on a team where I have to compete for a position, which not super excited about. I haven't compete before, but No, I'm just kidding.
Don't they know who you are?
Well, I've never missed a game, give or take.
Whoa.
I said give or take, all right.
Judge.
Don't pull stats on me now. No, I am excited to see this. Masamoon is one of the more calculated players in the league. He's this. If I were to give him like a player title, the strategist. He's very calculated in the ways that he works. And I guarantee you this fourth pick is going to be somebody that he can move around, work around, in order to keep teams off their toes. And so I'm excited to see, last pick, but still so much strategy going into this. Because the other thing is, too, you want to keep some of these better guys off the free agency, because right now, once they go to free agent, it's pretty much first come, first serve for the next foreseeable future. And so this is our last stake to make sure we keep, make sure we get make sure we get a good pick here. So Masamoon will take the time he needs in order to make sure it is a good one.
What are the chances that potentially trading this last pick? Vibe Clan still needs a third. Three Rocketeers still need a third.
It's possible. It's true. That is exactly right. I would not be surprised to see something like that. We haven't seen a trade go through yet. I think this is the first draft that we've seen go through that hasn't had a trade take place in it so far, which has been interesting, been pretty straightforward, just pick after pick. A lot of the trades took place prior to the draft, but no during draft picks or trades, excuse me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The first time that had really happened was season 1, but since then, these captains started getting real spicy and making all these wheels and deals and everything in between. So, going to be very interesting to see what Masamoon does here as we're creeping up on that timer here. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This has honestly been so much fun, especially after seeing everybody stick through it with us through the technical difficulties. That means more to us than anything because it shows us you guys really want to be here and see this play out. So give yourselves a round of applause. Shout out to everybody that is subscribing and gifting subscribers. That is also huge. K1, this is what we've built.
Yeah, it's great to see. And honestly, it wouldn't be a QRLS production if there wasn't some kind of technical difficulty. So it kind of just feels right. And, we had a little bit of time here. I wanted to bring up a story. You made mention to the merch, and, it kind of reminded me of a story I had. There's a good friend of mine, Blubbernut, who, him and I have known each other for a long time. Went to college together, and we actually ended up getting into a pretty bad argument. I won't get into the full details of it, but, it was like my best friend. We're fighting, and a lot of it was my fault. I felt bad. I didn't know what to do. So you know what I did, Bucket?
What did you do?
I went ahead and I pulled up, I went to our Players Wanted merch store, and I bought him a nice QRLS Kings hoodie because he's the captain of the Kings, and I gifted it to him, and I said, hey, man, I'm sorry. I hope this makes up for it. You know what he said to me?
No.
He said, this might be the most thoughtful, kind, and well-crafted gift I've ever received. Honestly, I wish I could buy more of these. And I said, well, Blubbernut, you can at our Players Wanted merch store if you wanted to go buy more in different products. So, if you're looking for a good gift for a loved one, or maybe you had an argument and you want to make up for it, or maybe you just want to treat yourself to a really good gift, go check out that merch store.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final pick of the Season 6 draft is in. Great story, K1. Great stuff. With the second pick of round 2 of the Season 6 QRLS draft, the Spectres select Ivali Esper.
Ivali Esper. I love that name. That is a really cool name.
Coming in at a 150 player rating.
Yeah,
Give us your thoughts on that, K1.
Oh, I'm trying to type it in, first of all. Give me a second. I just had it, and I clicked away. There it is. Yeah, 150 player rating I think works pretty well. Again, that's pretty much as middle of the road as they come as far as just pure numbers player rating goes. And to fit in there gives, again, with that middle ground area to have that allows for a lot of opportunity with that fourth man to kind of work in as a sub, move players around as needed, help out with scheduling issues, but more than anything, forces the rest of your team to make sure they're on their game, playing well. When you look at somebody like this, making sure you're going to be vying for a starting spot. And I think Masamune, that is exactly what he wants, especially after, he had some drama in his team last season, to make sure that he's keeping all of his guys up to boot, so to speak. That's exactly what he wants to have. So a big pickup there in that last 12, in that last last draft pick spot. Excuse me. So I have not gotten the honor to play with him, but I know I will be soon. So very excited to see that one go through.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been such a blast, and we officially get through our 6th draft. K1, think about that. Think about where we started in this league, and now we've got all these people waiting to hear their names called.
Yeah, and all the people that got their names called, and to those of you that might not have, this is a long season, and the free agent pool is constantly dipped into by these captains. Definitely be sure to stick around, too. Big draft. This is probably the most straightforward drafts we've had, and one of the more exciting ones because of the implications of having that fourth man. There's so much strategy to work with. What's great about this draft is we haven't got to see before. When the teams are drafted straight off the bat, we know exactly what to expect. We see these teams drafted, but we still don't know what to expect. I don't know the teams that are going to be taking the field. I don't know what trades might be coming after this. There's a lot of teams, a lot of people on there, a lot of talent on these rosters that are going to be moved around, and these captains are clever creatures. So all shaping up for the best season that the QRLS is going to produce, season 6, and we see it starting now, and I can't wait to see how it develops over the next few months.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and honestly, this has been such a blast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Quicksilver59, aka Little Bucket, aka the commissioner of the QRLS, and boys, we are in season 6. K1, any last words before we send them home?
Yeah, I want to take a look back here at just kind of want to look and see some of the highlights from this draft pick. Gonna go back to the round 1 here. With I think JJ is a big star to be picked up, one to be watched out for. I think an easy rookie of the season candidate without a doubt to find himself on the Bleacher Boys. The big question is, it's a full roster already, to see how that fills out, what trades might come in. Maybe JJ gets to play. Maybe he gets benched. Crazier things have happened. We'll see how that goes. Curious to see what Captain Golden Pickle wants to do there. After that, Kells also being an absolutely massive pickup for Astro. Again, a full roster, though. Curious to see what happens with Kells, if maybe he's traded, if he stays on the roster, if he's worked around, or what trades might be coming out of Astro, because all three of those players, I know a lot of these captains will be biting at the bit to try to get their hands on them. Cold Tap, another huge pickup. So excited to see him take the field, to see what he does. So I think these are some massive stars to look out for, rookies to look out for. So wanted to give a shout out there to the Bleacher Boys. Clarity United and Astro Gaming with, I think, some of the most divisive pickups. And very curious to see what all y'all do with it. And, just wanted to give some shout-outs there on a well-drafted team all the way around to all the captains. And thank you all for all the participation. You've heard me talk enough, so I'll send it back over to the voice of the QRLS himself, Little Bucket. And thank you for having me today, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your quick support and helping to get this stream back up and running. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have. Keep your eyes out for announcements regarding potential events prior to week 1. And keep your eye out on that spreadsheet, because the season 6 schedule will be coming out tonight. So please keep your eyes out there. Keep your eyes out if you are a captain for my go as to when the waiver wire opens up for the rest of free agency. And don't forget to go all check out the merch store as well. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, keep it quick.